Traffic and travel as well. If you are heading off for the bank holiday weekend, we'll let you know what's going on where. Coming up for you very soon indeed. But Thursday morning, around this time on BBC CWR, it's always great to catch up with our very own movie critic, Stratford-upon-Avon, James Luxford. Morning, James.
Good morning.
I bet Stratford's looking beautiful this morning, isn't it?
Oh, yes. We're all set up for the Jubilee weekend. There's a beautiful carousel in the middle of town, right by the river, and, bunting everywhere like everywhere else. And the sun's out and couldn't be better set up for the long weekend.
We got a picture, I think we shared it on our Facebook page, of a rather bedraggled-looking co-op at the bottom of the high street in Leamington Spa, where the bunting has apparently fallen down or is kind of in the middle, got a bit sort of... It doesn't look very celebratory of Her Majesty. So, if we want to sort of see how it's done, James, I suppose we come to Stratford-upon-Avon, do we? And they'll be sort of bunting by the shed load there.
Absolutely. I think anywhere in Stratford has bunting, flags. I believe one shop, which I won't name, has a find the toy corgi competition.
Really?
So very much prepared for it.
I love it. Okay, brilliant. The things people will get up to try and maximise the Platinum Jubilee in a commercial and also patriotic sense is fantastic. James gives us their good, bad and on-demand picks every Thursday morning. That's something that James feels is a good one to watch, something that James feels is one to avoid, and something that you can watch without going to the cinema, just on demand from your streaming services at home. So, James, let's start with the positive, shall we? Give us the good.
The good is the horror movie Men in cinemas now. It stars Jessie Buckley as a woman on holiday in the countryside who begins to be pursued by a mysterious figure.
I thought it'd be true that if you'd given him the chance to apologise, he'd still be alive.
What?
Okay, I know very little about this, so fill me in a bit more about this, James.
I enjoyed it. It's by Alex Garland, who has done many things in cinema. The Judge Dredd movie, Ex Machina from a few years ago. And I think it's got a bit of a resemblance to Get Out in that there's a social message wrapped in the horror narrative. I don't think this does it quite as well as that movie, but it's an unsettling and well-acted movie that showcases some great British talent with Jessie Buckley, who I just mentioned there. You might remember her from The Lost Daughter with Olivia Colman, and Rory Kinnear, who was in the Bond films, of course, playing the mysterious figure.
So that's Men. That's good. I know you don't like a horror, do you? You're not sort of into the genre so much. So for you to say that's good is quite something. Yeah, all right. So that's the good. What's the bad?
My bad is Bergman Island in cinemas Friday, and it's a drama about two married filmmakers who begin to drift when they visit an island made famous by the director Ingmar Bergman.
A young woman looks into the distance. She's about my age, or maybe a bit younger. They love each other passionately and awkwardly like teenagers do.
I never mentioned it to my girlfriend, but she's jealous of you. Why her and not me?
See, straight away, I'm loving the soundtrack there. A bit of Tina Charles. So what's bad about it?
Great, good soundtrack. Lovely sort of facts and a trivia for cinema fans. But for me, as a story, I felt it didn't really go anywhere, which is a shame considering the talent involved, led by Tim Roth, who plays one of the filmmakers. It's interesting in parts, but I think you get to the end of 2 hours and really sort of wonder what the film was trying to say, or at least I certainly did. It's one of those movies that, yes, I think has some things going for it, but doesn't quite come together.
Bergman Island, give it a miss. James's recommendation on that, and an on-demand choice for us over the weekend, please.
My on-demand choice is The Graduate on iPlayer Now, classic drama starring Dustin Hoffman as a young college graduate seduced by the wife of his father's business partner.
I do think you should know the consequences of what you've done. I do think you should know that my wife and I are getting a divorce soon.
What happened between Mrs. Robinson and me was nothing. It didn't mean anything.
Well, that's not saying much for my wife.
Point is, I don't love your wife, I love your daughters, sir.
And talking of soundtracks, the one that goes with that is legendary, isn't it? Simon and Garfunkel, and quite possibly the role that Dustin Hoffman has, never really lived down.
Yes, I mean, a tremendous role for Dustin Hoffman, one that, as you say, defined his career for a very long time, and just a fantastic film. Aside from the famous scenes, the amazing music, there aren't too many films about, I don't know, that awkward stage of early adulthood, perhaps after you've left school or university, where you're still figuring out what to do next. This portrays that brilliantly, I think, as well as incredible acting from Dustin Hoffman and Bancroft as the infamous Mrs. Robinson. I think it's something any lover of American cinema should see.
Really is. And again, it's one of those, if you haven't seen for years, just a chance to re-immerse as you get to over a 4-day bank holiday weekend. When I get lost for a couple of hours, just sort of go back into that one again, and him in the car, and Mrs. Robinson, the song kicking in, and the scene at the church at the end there. Just classic Americana, almost, really, isn't it? When you think of that. James, what are you planning for the next 3-4 days? Anything on?
No, just a little bit of a rest, enjoying the celebrations and enjoying the sunshine.
Good man. Always good to hear from you. Thanks so much. James Luxford, Stratford-upon-Avon movie critic, with us every Thursday morning here on BBC CWR. 9:35. Let's get you an update, shall we, from Hannah?